Let's kick off this explainer with a really crucial question right out of the gate. Is everyone who drives your car actually covered? We hand over our keys all the time, right? But assuming someone is covered can be an incredibly costly mistake. Ensuring every single driver in your household is properly insured is literally the bedrock of your financial protection. It gives you massive peace of mind, and believe it or not, can even unlock some potential savings. Now, you might think leaving a regular driver off your policy is a clever little way to save a few bucks in the short term, but actually, it can completely void your coverage. Imagine getting a claim denied right when you need that safety net the most. On the flip side, getting them properly listed gives you total peace of mind. And we'll see in a bit how it can even open the door to savings you might be missing out on. Navigating insurance can feel a bit like a maze, but adding a driver is actually a super straightforward 6-step journey. In this explainer, we're going to cover 1. Your current farmer's policy, 2. Preparing your driver information, 3. How to contact farmers, 4. Understanding the cost implications, 5. Reviewing your updated policy, and 6. Pro tips and common mistakes. All right, let's jump right into step 1. Your current farmer's policy, specifically looking at permissive versus regular use. So not everyone who touches your steering wheel actually needs to be on your policy. There is a really vital distinction here between an occasional borrower and a regular user. If your buddy borrows your car to run a quick errand once in a while, your policy usually covers them under what's called permissive use. But regular use, that is a whole different ballgame. If you've got a newly licensed teen, an adult child moving back home, a roommate, or maybe a nanny who drives your kids routinely, they absolutely 100% require a policy update. Why does this matter so much? Well, your premium is essentially a mathematical calculation based on the risk of you and anyone who regularly drives your car. If you don't disclose those regular drivers, you're fundamentally altering that risk profile. And as the source material bluntly puts it, your insurance company might even void your policy for misrepresentation. That literally wipes out your financial protection. No way around it, you've got to keep them informed. Moving right along to step 2. Prepare your driver information, gathering your data before contacting farmers. You're definitely going to want to gather a few specific things before you pick up the phone or log on. We're talking the basics: their full legal name, exactly as it appears on their government ID, date of birth, and a valid driver's license number. But you also need to be ready to chat about their driving history over the last 3 to 5 years. Yep, that includes any accidents or tickets, and their commute metrics, like how many miles they're driving to work or school every day. Having this whole shebang ready lets the underwriting team accurately assess and price your household's risk without a bunch of frustrating back and forth. Okay, step 3. How to contact farmers. Getting into the step-by-step instructions for updating your roster. Now that you've got all your data prepped, how do you actually make the update? Well, if you're a fan of digital self-service, the Farmers website is super easy. Just log into farmers.com, hit the Policies tab, scroll on down to the Driver section, and click Request Driver Change. Now, a quick heads up. Doing this submits an electronic form to your agent for manual review, so it doesn't instantly bind the coverage right that exact second. And speaking of digital options, there's a little operational quirk you should definitely know about. The Farmers mobile app is awesome for checking ID cards or paying your bill, but right now it doesn't actually support directly adding or deleting drivers. If you try it, it's just going to bounce you over to the website anyway. So save yourself the headache and just start on a web browser from the get-go. But hey, if you want real-time rate quotes and you want that coverage bound immediately, picking up the phone is actually your best bet. You can call your local Farmers agent during regular business hours, or if you're tackling this on a Saturday morning, just call the Farmers Customer Care Center. The beauty of this is that any changes you make with a live rep can be fully enforced by the time you hang up the phone. And here's a really fantastic piece of news. You do not have to wait for your annual renewal to make these changes. You can make rolling changes anytime throughout the year. Plus, midterm additions are calculated on a prorated basis. That means if you add a driver with just 2 months left in your policy term, you're only paying for the exact 2 months that new driver is actually covered. Pretty fair, right? Which brings us to step 4, understanding the cost implications, navigating premium changes, and discount. Let's just address the elephant in the room, the cost. Adding a driver, especially a newly licensed teenager, is definitely going to impact your wallet. According to Wallet Hub data, it costs about $775 per year on average to add a teen to a Farmers policy. Now, Farmers actually tends to charge a bit less than the industry average for teens, but that exact number is going to fluctuate wildly depending on the driver's age, what state you live in, and their driving history. But don't panic. You can totally empower yourself against those premium spikes by tapping into a really great list of farmers' discounts. For example, if your student is pulling good grades, definitely tell your agent. You can also enroll in the Signal program, which uses a telematics app to track safe driving habits and can earn you some nice discounts. You might also want to look into bundling your auto and home policies, or even talk about bumping up your deductible to lower your monthly premium. Just remember, that does mean paying more out of pocket if you actually have a claim. Another absolute game changer when adding a younger or less experienced driver is accident forgiveness. You should definitely ask your agent about this. It's available in most states and acts like a financial shield. Basically, it forgives one at-fault accident every 3 years, which keeps your premium from just skyrocketing if your newly added driver makes an honest mistake on the road. All right, step 5, reviewing your updated policy, verifying your household's coverage. Once your agent processes the addition, you're not quite done. This isn't just mindless paperwork. This is about ensuring absolute accuracy for your financial safety. You really need to check your newly issued declarations page. This document is basically your legal proof of coverage, usually found right in the first few pages of your digital policy package online. Log into farmers.com, open that PDF, and confirm the effective date and the driver details. Catching a simple typo right now guarantees you won't face unnecessary delays if you ever need to file a claim.
And finally, step 6, pro tips and common mistakes, navigating the underwriting process.
Let's wrap up with a few crucial pro tips. First up, always double-check the details you submit. When you add a driver, Farmers doesn't just take your word for it. They use motor vehicle reports and CLUE reports to automatically pull independent background checks. They're verifying the driving history you provided, so being totally accurate and upfront prevents some really frustrating adjustments to your premium down the line. And here is a major pitfall you've got to avoid: trying to hide a driver to save a little cash. It simply won't work. Farmers actively scan state motor vehicle registries and public databases. If they find an unlisted licensed driver living at your address, their underwriting department will often just automatically append that driver to your policy anyway to prevent coverage gaps and properly rate your household's risk. Honestly, it's always better to just be proactive. Because look, by proactively taking these simple steps, you are doing way more than just admin work. You're maintaining full legal compliance. You're preventing the absolute disaster of voided policies and denied claims. And you're opening the door to those essential discounts we talked about, like the Good Student or Signal telematics savings. You're basically maximizing your household's protective benefits. So, are you ready to review your policy and protect your household's financial future today? I really encourage you to take just 10 minutes to review your current driver roster. Think about who's actually driving your cars on a regular basis. Then log on or call your local farmer's agent to make sure your peace of mind is fully secured. It's such a small investment of time for a massive return in financial security. And lastly, a quick legal disclaimer. Insurance regulations can vary wildly from state to state. So please make sure to consult directly with Farmers Insurance or your local agent to ensure your specific policy complies with all your local regulations and to get the most accurate, updated information for your family. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. It really leaves you to wonder, if you haven't updated your roster recently, what hidden financial risks might be riding shotgun in your car right now?